Hello, everybody, and welcome to Daily with Doc. Let's go ahead and open up the Zoom room and allow those people that are sitting there waiting in the waiting room patiently to come in and join us. Hello, 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 everybody. We are excited to be able to be here and offer you something that you may not get from somewhere else, and that's a little bit of hope. So I know when I was in my health crises, there were so many things going on that I had lost hope as I was pushed off to pain management. There was nothing else they could do. I did not want to go through surgeries because I had seen the devastation that had happened to other people in my family. And I had these things that were considered to be genetic that I was just going to have to live with the rest of my life. So why not live with them and still be able to function? Barely, but still be able to function. Well, folks, the message that I heard, and part of it is what we're going to be sharing today, is something that gave me hope. And really, not just hope, but once I got it into my system thanked me for it. I started to thrive, not just barely survive. And all of those things that used to be considered, or I was told, were genetic. If it's genetic, once you have it, you got it, right? Yeah, I don't have it. So I'm super excited to be able to share more about what I found with you. My name is Becca Dukes, and as the hostess of this program and also the Director of Student Services for the Institute of Holistic Health and an assistant to a doctor that we host on this program, I am just honored to be able to support an amazing community. And as we provide this resource to the community and to the world, we want to make sure that if somebody shared this program with you, that you get back with them and tell them what you liked best about the program, what gave you a little bit of hope, and what you can do to get started on a better health journey. Because that's what it's all about, folks. We have the empowerment within us to be able to make some choices that can stop the roller coaster or slow it down and choose a different road. So without further ado, it is my honor and privilege to be able to introduce to you, if for the first time, or reintroduce to you if you're somebody that listens to us frequently, whether you're following us here on Critical Health News. We are a part of the Critical Health News team, or you may have heard this doctor on Coast to Coast, as he is heard every 6 weeks. This particular month, we got to hear him every 3 weeks, last month and this month. So that's pretty exciting. On Coast to Coast, where there are like 2.5 million listeners around the world, folks. And we want to reach even more than that, because the message that is spoken here can be life-changing and has been life-changing for many, many people. I have clients that I work with that are getting their families in other countries that we don't even ship to on product and being able to regain their health as well. So Dr. Joel Wallach is absolutely incredible in all that he has done in his short life, 80 plus decades, folks, and what he has discovered through over 27,000 autopsies, and taking that information that comes from those autopsies and doing comparisons between what was the cause of death, what other symptoms were going on within that body, and then linking it with the different chemical testings, looking on slides, connecting dots. And when something was missing nutritionally, this poor health condition existed, whether it was a cause of death or not. And when you get the same things happening over and over again, there's got to be some type of correlation, right, Dr. Wallach?
That's correct.
And with all that you have done, a lot of your information has been published in a book called Diseases of Exotic Animals that is held in the Smithsonian Museum as a national treasure. In fact, I have a copy. I invested in a copy of this big boy. And this was just like the major beginning of where it all started for you in finding, and this is used in veterinary schools around the world as a resource. But he wanted to go beyond the animals and reach the humans as well. And that I am so thankful for, because this book right here is a summary of that big book and as it relates to humans, as Dr. Wallach is one of the founding fathers of the science of epigenetics. And in this book, The Death of the Genetic Theory of Disease Transmission. This here, folks, is something that you want to definitely get in your library, and you can get this at drjwallach.com. So Dr. Wallach, as we're going through and we get emails all the time, it's like we get little groups where people have the same condition coming in. And one of them that I got last night was from a gentleman who has interstitial lung disease. He was diagnosed in 2018. He has 54% lung capacity. He still walks 2.2 miles uphill and down in about 45 minutes. So he's got a good pace there, 3 times a week. His oxygen levels are usually good, but he's been getting weak and dizzy. The CT scans indicate fibrosis and some alveoli damage. So for a 75-year-old man, Dr. Wallach, let's start about one. Why is nutrition important for the lungs? And then going into that, when there's damage that's been done, what could be cause of damage? And is there anything that we can do nutritionally to support that?
Okay. Thank you for the questions. Those are very logical questions. And let's see here. I want to point out that the study we did on those 30,000 autopsies, okay, included humans as well as animals, over, I think it was like 300 and something species of animals. Close
452 species.
There you go, 452 species of animals. So it was a very comprehensive study. And there were things that nobody had ever reported before, listed before, even anatomically. As many autopsies have been done and anatomical studies have been done all over the world, and humans and all these animals. It never was published. And so it got put into that book, Rare Disease of Exotic Animals. And that's why it shocked everybody. That book shocked everybody because it was so detailed. And again, I had worked my way through agricultural school and veterinary school at the University of Missouri, both of them, by working in the pathology department. So I became a pretty highly experienced pathologist at a very young age. And so that's where all this comes from. It's not just I walked in and did a bunch of autopsies and said something. It's much more intense than that. And today we want to talk about the lungs, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, now the lungs are a very complex set of organs. There's 2 lungs, pair of lungs. Okay, you got a right lung and a left lung. And most people don't realize it, but there's an enormous amount of blood coming into the lungs, bringing the carbon dioxide, and the lungs take the carbon dioxide out of the blood and get rid of it, and they take in the oxygen from the atmospheric air and put it into the blood going to the body, or the heart, then the heart pumps it to the body. So the lung is in a very, very special place. And people have no earthly idea. Most anatomists don't know the physiology and the anatomy, both microscopic and gross anatomy of the lungs. Now, the lungs, as you point out, are these alveoli, these little air sacs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Each lung has 380 million alveoli.
Wow. That's a
380
lot.
million alveoli, 480 million alveoli per lung. Okay. And this is where this transfer of oxygen to the body and carbon dioxide back out in the atmosphere. Okay. Very important. Now, there's another piece in there that most people don't pay any attention to, and it's equally as important as the alveoli. The rings in the trachea and the larynx and the bronchi are cartilage, just the same stuff that's in your knees and your hips and your shoulders. Same exact stuff. Same exact stuff that's in the heart valves. Same exact stuff. Okay. And most people don't pay attention when you have a cold or a cough or pneumonia. They kill the bugs with antibiotics, but they don't treat the tissues of the lungs. Okay, they forget the tissues of the lung. Well, we're going to kill those bacteria, we're going to kill those viruses, and they forget the tissue, forget the lungs. Okay, so the lungs respond extremely well when it gets the raw materials to make cartilage and connective tissue like tendons and ligaments. Okay, very, very important here. That's why the lungs, it's not really muscle that contracts the lungs, okay, to pump oxygen out and air and blood out into the body, but it's the elastic fibers and the connective tissue in the lungs that are working. Okay, we can't forget that.
Say that again.
Okay, the lungs require enough nutrition to take care of the elastic fibers and the connective tissue, the rings in the bronchi and the trachea and the arteries and the veins and in the walls of the alveoli. The lung is a connective tissue organ.
Okay, so with what you just said, how does that relate to fibrosis?
Well, fibrosis, okay, if you have normal tissue, okay, like air sacs, getting scar tissue, getting connective tissue, getting connective tissue where it doesn't belong, they can't increase in size with increasing intake of air. And when the lungs contract, because the elastic fibers are contracting them, if you don't have all this connective tissue in there, it's just like your fingers going through water. It's, you have to close your hand to get any power to go through water swimming. You can't open your fingers and do this. It's not going to give you much. Okay. And so people forget all the stuff that the lungs need. And we can do so much for people who have terrible, terrible, terrible chronic respiratory problems. Okay. By treating them the same way as you would with heart disease, with arthritis and osteoporosis, and the lung issues. Not the lung issues only, you have to treat the lungs just like you would if somebody had osteoporosis.
Okay.
Okay, they help you out?
So because of and that's because of the connective tissue that you
That's
treated
correct.
like you would with osteoporosis?
That's correct. Because every bone has connective tissue in the bone. Okay, it's called the bone matrix. It's like a connective tissue skeleton. Your body puts the calcium in it to make it hard. But when you want to do something interesting, take a bone, and we used to do this before we had the glucogel. Everybody for 1,000 years or more would boil bones in a pot. Okay.
For bone broth.
for bone broth because they knew that if they ate that bone broth, they could rebuild their cartilage. They didn't know the tissues, but they knew they could rebuild their joints, their knees and their hips and ankles and shoulders and stuff. They knew this for 2,000 years. Now, the mistake the medical system made, okay, when they came out with cortisone, now the symptoms will go away, but the disease keeps getting worse and worse and worse and worse, okay, because the cortisone just reduced or eliminated for temporarily the inflammation and the pain, but they didn't give them the nutrition to maintain the connective tissue integrity of the lungs.
All right. And we definitely want to maintain the integrity of the body.
That's correct.
So when we're nutrient deficient, it doesn't just affect one part of the body, it can affect the whole body.
Yes, almost all nutrients affect universally all tissues in the body. For instance, copper. Copper is required to make red blood cells, but it's also required for the strength of your tendons and ligaments. It's also required for your blood vessel connective tissue. It's also required for your skin.
But you don't just want to go out and suck on a copper penny or just take copper as a supplement.
No, you have to take all 90 essential nutrients, including 60 minerals. And that's why we do so well. That's why the longevity program does better than most. For instance, you go to a orthopedic surgeon, and okay, well, let's give you some calcium, we'll give you some cortisone, and within a couple hours, your pain and swelling in your knees will go away, your pain will go away, but the disease continues to get worse.
So do those shots, do they reduce inflammation or do they block the body's response?
Okay, when they give you the shots of cortisone, it's reducing inflammation. Okay, it also, which I say, it restricts the efficiency of absorbing the minerals into that joint or into the tendons and ligaments.
Okay.
See, this is where the patient, I just love my doctor. I had such arthritic pain for years, and he gave me this new form of cortisone, which you inject, every 3 or 4 hours, and the pain went away. I want to give him everything I own to make him happy because he made me so happy in just a few minutes with this injectable cortisone. No, it's actually accelerating your death.
Well, I remember Dr. Wallach when I was going to doctors and I would get something that would help even for just a day or 2 days. I would want to give them a hug, yes, but not everything I own because it went away. I mean, it came back. And that's the nice thing that I love about once I got on the nutrition program and I was no longer deficient, then so many of those symptoms that were keeping me from being able to enjoy life went away. And that's why I do what I do, Dr. Wallach, is because of what I found in what you started and put together with your team and the formulas that then actually gave me personally what I needed in order to be able to start thriving. Now, there are some people where their digestive systems just aren't quite ready for it. You have to ease into it. I was one of them. But once you get things on board and you keep going and you keep working with a coach and figuring out what it is that you need in order to get the nutrition in your body, and not just the nutrition in the body, Dr. Wallach, but what's something else that we need to make sure we're not putting in the body?
Well, you have to stay away from the bad stuff that detracts from absorption of the good stuff, utilization of the good stuff, incorporating the good stuff into your tissues. And this is why today I brought this book along. It's 400 pages.
I got it.
Okay, good. Rare Earths Forbidden Cures. When people open that book and they say, I've never heard of such this stuff. Okay. And it goes into primarily rare earths, which are trace minerals. Okay, trace minerals and all the things they do. And people say, "Oh yeah, I take trace minerals." Do you know what they do? Well, no, they make me feel better. Okay, well, trace minerals really make the difference in all tissues, particularly the brain, the heart, the lungs, the liver, the kidneys, muscles, bones. And so trace minerals will do things that medicine and surgery can't do. Okay. And when you look at, for instance, you look at the list of neurological diseases that are caused by um, lack of myelin in the brain, Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease, multiple sclerosis. One that is really, really a connective tissue issue is amyotrophic lateral sclerosis. Sclerosis means scarring. Okay. We're talking about scarring of the nerves here, and that includes the nerves in the lungs. ALS. And
Mm-hmm.
we just had a 49-year-old guy who was a famous movie star. Um, he was being treated for 5 years with all the best treatments for ALS. And he died at age 49 because they didn't give him everything he needed, okay, to repair what was going on with his ALS. ALS is a very easy disease to prevent and to cure. But my doctor says it's genetic. No, it's not. Well, my doctor said it's old age. No, no, it's a nutritional deficiency. And just getting injections of cortisone can help relieve symptoms, okay? But is not going to give you what you're ultimately looking for, which is a total reversal and rebuilding of the tissues to normal and function.
All right. Well, thank you so much for that introduction and monologue, Dr. Wallach. I know that it's going to be useful to help a lot of people. And that's why we do this program, folks, is to be able to create content that you can then take and share with others and not have it be you as an individual with maybe no doctor before your name, but actually have not just a doctor, not just a veterinarian, not just a pathologist, but all the above, including somebody that has studied the plants and the soils, and giving information that he has been implementing around the world in clinics and also through individuals like you and I to help create a healthier world. So thank you so much for that, Dr. Wallach. And we do have hands that are up, so we want to make sure that we get to those hands, and we have questions that are coming in the chat as well. But first, let's go to Susan, Dr. Wallach. And folks, if you're here live with us in the Zoom and you'd like to ask Dr. Wallach a question, please find that option to raise your hand, and we will call on people in the order that they are raise their hands. And if you have questions that you've already put into the chat, then we will go ahead and ask those for you. And if you're out on any of the platforms watching us in this live stream or a replay, welcome to you as well. Make sure that you give us a like, subscribe to the channel, send us a heart or some comments there, and let us know that you are there. We want to make sure that we have an idea of how many people we're reaching, and let us know even the country that you are watching from. So, Dr. Wallach,
Yes, ma'am.
let's bring Susan to the screen with us.
Hey.
Susan, did I get you to go ahead and unmute yourself, my dear?
Very good. Hi, Becca. Hi, Doc, and everybody.
Hi, where are you from?
Well, yeah, I'm from Indianapolis, Indiana, Midwestern girl here. But I'm actually asking on behalf of one of my clients who's actually in Amman, Jordan. And Becca was so kind to help me with this the other day. But the question I had, Doc, is I have a gentleman. He is on your kidney protocol. He's not on dialysis or anything right now, but he is in kidney failure. Now, he recently had his potassium levels go pretty high. His creatinine is improving, which is great, but his potassium was high at 6.5. So they took him to the hospital and to monitor him. Now, so I know the supplements he's taking have some potassium. With everything he's taking, he's getting about 450 milligrams of potassium per day between the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, the Ultimate Daily Classic tablets, the Beyond Tangy Tangerine tablets, and I think that's it. That's potassium. So should he reduce the amount of supplements he's taking that have the higher potassium?
Okay,
And
stop there. How old is this guy?
He's 55.
What does he weigh?
He weighs 195 pounds.
Okay, so his diagnosis is kidney failure.
Yes.
Okay, does he have any other issues? High blood pressure, diabetes, arthritis?
Well, I'm working with a naturopathic doctor, so it's actually one of his patients, so I don't really know all those details. I couldn't tell you.
Okay. Yeah, well, the odds are he's got a lot of stuff going on, okay, with interesting changes going on in kidney failure. And kidney failure can be caused by many things. Lack of blood flow into the kidneys, bringing dirty blood into the kidney, okay, and taking clean blood out of the kidney. Can also have problems with connective tissue problems, where the tubes carrying urine away from the kidney are not well. Okay, they can be filling up with scar tissue and that kind of stuff. And there's muscles in the kidneys. There's, the filtering units. The kidney is a very complex organ, okay, required for life. And so you have two of them. And they have an enormous recovery capacity, just like the lungs. They have an enormous recovery capacity. And so this guy here, is what you're telling me, in Jordan, right? What I would do is have him stay away from all the bad foods. No fried foods, no processed meats, no oils, no glutens, no wheat, no brown rind oats, no buckwheat, no sugar, no carbonated drinks. Even the diet one's got to go. And then at 195 pounds, I would not be cherry picking things. What he needs to do is enlighten the whole system, okay? At 195 pounds, he needs 2 healthy brain and heart packs per month, a full dose of everything twice a day. Then the secret sauce for him is going to be the Ultimate Daily Classic tablets. Ultimate Daily Classic tablets. In his situation, I'd have him take three times a day, 3 at breakfast, 3 at lunch, and dinner. So that's going to be 2 bottles a month of the Ultimate Daily Classic tablets. And they're going to help blood flow into the kidneys, even though the arteries may be blocked. It's going to, because it'll help open up those arteries. It'll help get the clean blood out into the tissues, okay? It'll also help get the dirty stuff and the dirty blood coming into the kidney, into the urine, and pumped out in the urine, okay? The kidneys have so many different functions in the body, okay? About half a dozen major life requiring functions, okay? It's not just something, that makes you want to go to the bathroom, okay? The kidneys have to do with blood pressure, blood flow in and out of the body. Also, it has to do with blood pressure, okay? And so this is very, what should I say, very easy to deal with, but the Ultimate Daily Classic tablets are just wonderful. And I would also throw in the I-26. You said he had dizziness?
I don't think he had dizziness, but he is doing the I-26.
Okay, good.
He is doing that as well.
Okay, good. Yeah, he needs the I-26. His body weight, he needs to be taking 3 of those at least twice a day, maybe 3 times a day. I take 3 twice a day now. Okay, and I weigh about, depending on what day it is, 138 to 142, up and down a little bit. Okay, but this is, we have millions of people all over the world have kidney failure, just like I have millions of people all over the world have lung failure. I have millions of people all over the world that have heart problems. These all usually what should I say, the initial cause of all these problems are nutritional deficiencies. They're not genetic. They're not age. They're all nutritional deficiencies. And depending on the organ, you get different things going on. Okay, so this is easily dealt with. And I'm sure we have a nice trail of nutrients going into Jordan. We do a lot in the Middle East.
Well, when they do these tests, Dr. Wallach, sort of like calcium, we know that calcium high in the blood is actually because we're so deficient in it. But what about potassium? Is it as dangerous as the medical doctors say? Like they're afraid they're going to have some sort of heart attack or something. Is it that critical when the potassium is higher, like 6.5?
Okay, well, the potassium itself is not going to kill you. But when you have high potassium or low potassium, it's telling you there's something going on with the metabolism that could kill you.
Okay.
Okay, so it's kind of like a barometer. Okay, but potassium has to do with energy of the cells, cell health and cell functions of all kinds, also muscle health. The heart loves potassium because the heart beats even when you're asleep. The heart's one of those tissues that does its job when you're asleep. It's every day, your whole life. And your kidneys are the same way. Your kidneys are working hard when you're asleep. Okay. And so this is why the potassium fluctuates, goes up and down, depending on what you're eating, what you're not eating. And this is why when you take the 90 essential nutrients, you're giving the body a stable recipe of all the nutrients that every tissue and organ in the body needs. And this is why we have such good results when people get on the 90 essential nutrients, get rid of all the bad foods, but you're giving the body what it needs. And I always get concerned when people start cherry picking and say, well, give me what I need to do about my potassium. Well, let's give you everything you need to do about everything. Okay. Now that's why we have 24 books. We're working on a couple more. And of course, I can't tell you much details yet, but we have this big project where we're going to be bringing in, I think it's like 15 countries coming in to longevity now pretty soon. And I can't give you more details than that, but it's going to freak you out when you realize what started that whole venture. Okay. And they're coming in because they have needs. They have high potassium, they have high phosphorus, they have high calcium, they have high protein, they have low protein. They're not making enzymes. Their kidney's not happy. Their brain's not happy. Their brain's not functioning. They may be diagnosed with Huntington's chorea or Parkinson's disease. And, right now, the rate of Parkinson's disease has gone up by 90,000 a year. 90,000 a year, new customers, new patients with Parkinson's disease. Well, that's because the medical system has missed it badly. They were just giving treatment, so we're going to give them a tranquilizer. Well, what does that do for the nutrition, okay, of their myelin in the brain? Not much. Okay, so we took the other trail. We said, okay, you can have a smile on your face or a frown on your face. Look in the mirror. I'm down here. I'm looking at your lungs. I'm looking at your kidneys. I'm looking at your heart. I'm looking at your cells and so forth, because that's where the activity's at. That's where the activity's at. And so that's why we go that direction. And that's why we have such great success. We did, let's see here, last night, we did George Norrie. What is it? How many? 125 million, 200?
It's a lot. It's a
Yeah,
lot.
it's more than 125 million people I talked to last night through George Norrie, and he asked some wonderful questions. And he was kind of shocked at some of the, and we've been doing this for a long time, he and I. Okay. And so, and we were talking about diseases that he was kind of shocked that we knew what to do, and we're getting such numerically great results. And because we're dealing with biochemistry in the cells, we're dealing with biochemistry in the tissues, we're looking at biochemistry in the organs. Okay.
So with looking at that biochemistry, Dave has a really good question, and you touched on it just a little bit, but let's go a little deeper. Is why do people who have diabetes and kidney issues have problems with potassium? I mean, potassium is something that our body needs.
Okay, well, if you have diabetes, you urinate a lot. Okay. And if you're peeing out more potassium than you're taking in, potassium levels go down.
Okay, but if you're on dialysis, most people on dialysis are not peeing a lot.
But dialysis is peeing. Okay.
It's going and doing that whole system for you.
That's correct. So
Okay.
you're still getting rid of potassium when you do dialysis.
Because I know that there's for people, and through my experience in working with like my sister, for instance, she was on a potassium blocker, she was on a phosphorus blocker, all of these things that are supposed to be essential nutrients. Is it because they build up and the body can't process them? It's not so much that they're taking too much of those nutrients, is it?
No,
Or eating foods with too
no.
much?
Doctors just don't like to see levels outside of the normal range.
And
And
that's somebody
and
sick?
yeah, and well, it could mean, it's like a thermometer. Why does your temperature go up? When you have an infection. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to get your temperature down? Well, that's one thing. You get the temperature down, make the patient feel comfortable, but your body sends the temperature up so it can do more to defend you.
Well, yeah, I mean, heat kills off bacteria, right?
That's correct. And your organs work better when you're a little warmer.
All right. Well, thank you so much for that, Dr. Wallach. And Susan, I hope that gave you a little more information that you can share with your client as well. And real quick, Dr. Wallach, what if your body, you take the 90 essential nutrients and you don't get better? Your body is like getting worse. And
If that's happening, the chances are somebody's misinterpreting something. For instance, if your car stops on the highway and you say, "Oh, the car stopped. I'm going to put more gasoline in the tank." Maybe that ran out of fuel. When you look at the gauge on the dashboard, there's a half a tank of gasoline in there. Why are you putting gasoline in the car? Well, the engine stopped. Okay, well, obviously it wasn't gasoline shortage. So putting gasoline in there is not going to help you or help the car go. Okay, so you have to understand what are the potential causes of the engine stopping on the highway, especially when you have plenty of gas in the tank. Well, it could be an electrical problem. Okay, you could have had a short in the electrical system. Okay, and the little sparks in the engine aren't working and causing explosion, causing the piston to go up and down. Okay, and so there's a piece missing, which you don't see on any device on your dashboard. Okay, and so well, I'll put some dirt from Texas in the tank because it's bound to have some gasoline in it. It's dirt from Texas. That's not going to help.
All right. So the body is complex, folks. And there are a lot of things that can happen within us and in our environments that can cause the body to not be able to absorb properly. But there are things that we can do and a lot of elimination to help us figure that out. And then slowly adding things back in. And because saying that the minerals, that you can't take minerals, I know you have said in the past, is like saying you can't breathe oxygen, right?
Yeah.
Or you're allergic to vitamin C. Okay, you can't breathe oxygen. Or you're allergic to essential fatty acids. It's like saying you can't breathe oxygen. There are essential fatty acids that come from different things, both animals and plants, and there is a fit for you. And the nice thing I like about the plant-derived minerals, Dr. Wallach, is one, they're plant-derived. Two, they're coming from a prehistoric deposit in the middle of nowhere that is not contaminated by anything, and they take very good care of making sure that even the equipment that they use for mining that is being taken care of, so it's not depositing toxins into what is going into the plant-derived minerals that then we put in our bodies. And there's lots of testing to confirm that it is in fact clean, and what's in the bottle or what's in the label is in the bottle. So we want to thank you, Dr. Wallach, for being so particular about that in creating these products and the company Longevity, which you're no longer quote unquote part of. You've released that onto your oldest son and his wife, who are now running the company, so that you can focus more on the education instead of the operations. So I find that very admirable, Dr. Wallach, because you are so committed to people. And as a commitment to people, we want to make sure that we get additional questions answered. And we have, can I say your name, KB? We have Miss Carrie. So Miss Carrie, please unmute yourself. And what is your question for Dr. Wallach today?
Hi, I have a client who had a hernia mesh issue, and the mesh went to the bottom of their abdominal cavity. So when they went in for exploratory surgery, they found it all wadded up. They took that out, but it had caused adhesions on the lower intestines. So they took out 13 inches of lower intestine. He's 76 years old. He's about 5'6" and about 150, but he's on the 90 and maybe 1 week post surgery now. So he went from being very vibrant and active and working full time to now he is just trying to heal. And they've put him on solid food already, which I'm a little surprised by, but I figured I would ask you what would be the best way for him to heal those intestines, because I told him if anybody knows what the inside of those should look like and how they should heal, it would be Doc, because he's seen them before.
I've seen a few of them, 35,000 autopsies. I've seen a few.
That's what I figured.
Okay. And so, yeah, the intestine has a remarkable property to maintain itself and to heal. You can imagine all the stuff going down through there, all the particle friction, bugs, all kinds of stuff, chemistry. And yet when somebody dies of old age or 100 years old and you look at them, their intestines still look like normal intestines. Okay.
Wow.
And those are the ones who live to be 100 and beyond. Okay. Because that's sort of the front door. That's the front gate that brings everything in to your body. Although we can get certain things in by rubbing, for instance, plant-derived minerals on the skin. I've had now another case in Australia where this middle-aged woman was in a coma, and they were just very despondent about her condition. It was very bad coma, and so they didn't even call me. but they heard that story of Pastor Mike Freeman, okay, who was in a coma for 2.5 months, and we rubbed the plant minerals on him. And the next morning he woke up and he was perfectly normal. It took him a few weeks to get back to walking again because he hadn't walked in 2.5 months. Okay, and that was 10 years ago, and he's running around the country now still giving lectures telling about what the minerals did for him. And so there's this one in Australia just about a week ago now. Yeah, it was a week ago, Saturday. She went into a coma, and they remembered the Pastor Mike Freeman story, so they started rubbing these minerals on her. The next day, she was perfectly normal, absorbing them through the skin. Okay, so sometimes you have to be a little bit creative. Okay, I suppose is a nice way to put it, a little creative. And this is why we're going to be going to at least a dozen, maybe 15 more countries here in a very short time. Very excited about that. And of course, I love the Zooms and that kind of thing because we can talk to 25 countries at the same time through the Zooms. And so this is going to be a great venture for humanity. I'm so glad that our team in Longevity, okay, is involved.
All right. Thank you so much, Carrie. I hope that answered your question for you.
Well, is there any recommendation for just what he should be eating as these heal, or do you think they're just going to really they're built to heal, so they'll heal on their own and they're fine as long as he's on the 90?
Okay, now you're talking about still the
intestinal surgery and abdominal
sure.
surgery.
Okay. Well, again, got to get rid of all the bad foods. No fried foods, no processed meats, no oils, no glutens, no wheat, butter, and oats, no buckwheat, no sugar, no carbonated drinks. The diet one's got to go. You can't have all that bad stuff going down into an injured tissue like the small intestines, okay?
Right.
Because it's too inflammatory. Got to eliminate all that. Then, and so it might be a liquid diet for a while. I like herbal rainforest. It's a great cleansing product, anti-inflammatory product, and it has 70 to 75 minerals in it, depending on which of the 8 different mines we got the minerals from that month. Okay. And then the beauty of this is the intestines will heal very rapidly. Because imagine they're getting beat up every time you eat. Okay, yeah. So they have to have the capacity to heal. Well, there you go. I love it. Thank you. But the intestines will heal, okay, very rapidly, given all 90 essential nutrients. You can't just say, okay, we're going to take more vitamin C. Well, we're going to take more potassium, or we're going to take less phosphorus. No, that's cherry picking like that doesn't work. You got to have a system, and the system will always work.
Okay.
And that's where the nutrients for connective tissue again are very important to the 90.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Glucogel.
Okay, I recommended that, so I will double check on that. I recommended the liquid.
Well, don't forget the collagen peptides.
Okay.
Because it can give you more minerals and also give you the it's kind of like the connective tissue stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Carrie. Great question.
Thank you so much.
And it's amazing, Dr. Wallach, how there's a system that is cutting stuff out of bodies rather than looking at, okay, what's the underlying cause? Let's work on that underlying cause before starting to cut. So, oh goodness. Well, we have lots of hands and questions, Dr. Wallach. So let's go right over to Tony. Tony, go ahead and unmute yourself. Welcome to Daily with Doc and his lovely wife.
Unmute.
There you go.
Okay, hi, sorry. Okay, hi.
How can we help you?
Pointing where I should be looking. I'm looking at the pictures, but it's telling me to point at the camera. So we ordered the kit.
Are you from England?
Yeah, originally, but we're in Canada. We've been here 48 years.
Oh my gosh, you still have your accent.
Yeah, we went to school in London. Well, London, sorry. So we kept it. Yeah, we've known each other for decades, literally. So we ordered the Healthy Body Start Pack. We got that today. So what I know is that, so most of the pills they say, or the gels or whatever, I haven't opened them, they say three times a day. So that's okay to do all of those then, all the containers that we have, 3 pills 3 times, the pills
That's
3
correct.
times.
You're supposed to take everything in that, so the end of the month, that one's gone.
Yeah. Okay then. I'll get on
it
it
goes by
tomorrow.
weight. And so you're how much does your husband weigh?
164.
Okay, then he needs 2 of those per month, so he can take a full dose of breakfast and a full dose of dinner time.
Okay then. So just
And-
breakfast and dinner?
Yes.
Okay, right.
And does he have anything else? Does he have diagnosed arthritis or have a pressure or diabetes or anything like that?
No, he just has ALS.
Oh,
That's
ALS.
enough.
Okay, you know what else he needs if he has ALS?
He's had it for
I
9
actually
months.
Okay, so
Page
Dr.
26.
Wallach holding up I-26.
Okay.
So we want to make sure that we get some I-26 to Tony as well.
Oh
And
yeah,
you.
that will rebuild his myelin in his brain. When you have ALS, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, listen to the name, amyotrophic. A means in pathology without, okay? Amyelin, okay? Without myelin, lateral, which means on the outside, sclerosis, scar tissue. This is a classic example of a deficiency of the raw materials that your brain and spinal cord require to maintain the physical, biochemical, and function of myelin. But we have, again, we have so many people that have had Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease, multiple sclerosis, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis. And there's about 35 other demyelinating diseases. Okay. And that's why we came up with the I-26, because doctors had freaked everybody out about eating eggs and this, that, and the other. Well, there's cholesterol in the eggs. Well, cholesterol is your best friend. Makes up 95% of your sex hormones for both male and female. You do not want to be on a cholesterol-free diet. Otherwise, there ain't nothing happening downstairs. Okay. Then you also don't want to exclude cholesterol, because cholesterol helps you make not only hormones, sex hormones, but also it helps you make the myelin in your brain. Your liver is the organ that makes myelin out of cholesterol. Your liver takes cholesterol and makes cholesterol, makes myelin out of it. So myelin is your cholesterol is your best friend. If you don't want to have your brain working, you don't want to have sex, don't have myelin.
Okay.
And take cholesterol lowering drugs.
No
So-
cholesterol lowering drugs. The doctors have missed that one by 1,000 miles. No, I take that back. Doctors have missed by 1,000,000 miles.
So what's the other one he just held up for the ALS?
So I-26, and I just want to put this out there, that this program is for educational purposes only. It's not meant to take the place of your primary care physician. The FDA requires me to let you know that the products are not meant to treat, diagnose, cure any diseases. But folks, when you give the body what it needs, the body can do some amazing things.
Oh,
And
that's
longevity has taken those quality raw ingredients, put them into formulas that the body can actually utilize. So Dr. Wallach was holding up I-26 as just one of the things that helps to support the good cholesterol that is needed in the body, so that the body can then take care of the myelin that protects the nerves and the brain. So thank you so much for asking that question as well. And just a side note, I don't know if you saw the chat, Tony and Mrs. Blackman, that I will be reaching out to you, and I'll be your coach along this journey. So
Okay, yeah, Tony's ALS for 9 years. When he first was diagnosed in 2015, he was misdiagnosed with myasthenia gravis, an autoimmune disease. And then 9 months later, they diagnosed him with ALS, and he went to a neurologist who said to him, literally, here are your pills, you have 2 to 5 years to live. So he is going to prove them wrong because he's had this for 9 years. So yeah, 9 years, and he's still eating. I blend his food. He still can drink. I mean, he's in a wheelchair, but he can actually still shuffle around on his walker. So he's just proven them all wrong. He said, I'm going to be running back in that doctor's office to go, nah, 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 nah.
yes.
You better go fast because the doctor may die before you do.
He's getting ready to retire, so yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, I'm so glad that we are here to be on that journey with you and see that happen even sooner. So thank you. And Dr. Wallach, let's go to another hand that's up, as she has a couple more questions that are coming in off of the social media platforms. Phyllis, go ahead and mute yourself.
Okay,
and I know we have just a couple minutes.
Go fast.
Go ahead, Phyllis.
Sure enough, Doc, you have a YouTube listener. I assume it's a man. He is already on the Healthy Brain and Heart Pack. We don't know his size, but he is taking it. He asks, how can I dissolve a coronary thrombosis blood clot in the heart?
Okay. Basically, what you want to do, of course, is take the 90 essential nutrients. You also want to take the Ultimate Daily Classic tablets. Take 3 of those at least twice. If he has a blood clot in the heart, then or someplace else in the vascular system, I would take the Ultimate Daily Classic tablets three times a day. Okay, it'll help dissolve blood clots. It'll keep blood flowing through the arteries and the veins, and it actually dilates the arteries and the veins. So if you have scar tissue in the arteries, which make blood pressure go up, okay, that will open up the path so that the blood is flowing more easily to the tissues, okay? So he should, is very smart to go with the Healthy Brain and Heart Pack, but if he weighs more than 150 pounds, he needs 2 Healthy Brain and Heart Packs, okay? One for, each 100 pounds of body weight. And then, of course, the Ultimate Daily Classic tablets, the collagen peptides, again, for more inflammation. It's kind of like, it's got 15 herbs that do for your body what cortisone does, but in addition to doing what cortisone does, reducing inflammation, this and the other, it also actually increases the healing very, very significantly.
Would you maybe want him to add him some MSM?
It cannot hurt. The MSM also deals with connective tissue, absolutely. Connective tissue in the arteries and the bones and cartilage and the trachea, every place that there's connective tissue, even the heart valves, which are kind of the same stuff that your tendons are made out of, heart valves. Okay, and so I take MSM along with everything else. People freak out when they say, oh God, you take so many things, Wallach. Well, I'm hedging my bet.
Well, Dr. Wallach, I'd like to add to that the Ultimate Niacin Plus, as it includes nattokinase, which has been found to gently dissolve those blood clots and things that are within the body. Would you recommend?
Yeah, niacin is a very wondrous B vitamin, and it doesn't get all the accolades that it should. And of course, again, it's one of those things that it's all part of our system here in Youngevity. We have a niacin tablet, and I add that niacin tablet to everything else I take. I take one of those twice a day. And some people, they get little heat rashes sort of thing. They kind of warm up. They get a flush, I guess you call it, from the
Well,
niacin.
isn't that because of vessels are opening up and the blood flow is
That's right. The vessels are dilating, very good, and that's why they get that flush. And they say, "Oh, I didn't like that, so I'll stop taking niacin." Well, then you're going to die.
right. All right, thank you. And one more question, Dr. Wallach, real quick. Cortisol. What if you have a high level of cortisol? Could that affect how your body uses the nutrition? And what can we do to balance that cortisol out?
Okay, well, cortisol is your body's attempt to reduce inflammation. And that's where the pharmaceutical industry got the idea to make cortisone, the cortisol. The good Lord and our body thought about it first.
Okay.
And so cortisol goes back to the beginning of time. Okay. And it's one of those things, it's a real attribute that's there. Because before there was a pharmacy to come up with cortisone, we had cortisol. Okay. And it's an anti-inflammatory. And like anything else, you don't even want too much oxygen. You want to keep things within a functional range. Okay. And so if you have something happening that's way out of whack with the normal range you should be having, then you need to look into what's going on there, what's making that happen, and resolve the issue.
So something is creating more inflammation within the body, which is then raising the cortisol levels.
That's correct. The cortisol level going up is in response to some irritation in the body.
All right. Well, thank you so much for that, Dr. Wallach. And I know that you have to get going. We appreciate your time and all that you have done to be able to allow us to present this information to the world.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And God bless for all of you angels, all of your angels making things happening. And we couldn't do it by ourselves. And so we're a family. We love each and every one of you. Thank you. God bless. And let's keep on going. There's many more. Now that we're going to get these 15 more countries coming in, we're going to need more help.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So thank you so much, Dr. Wallach. And I'm going to go ahead and let you go. And if I could get my team on the screen with me, I couldn't do this without them. And folks, anywhere that there is an internet connection, we can now be able to reach them. And that is something that I'm so excited about. I wish we had 2-3 hours with Dr. Wallach a day, because we have so many questions that come in. I know we didn't get to all of them. And I am thankful that we have so many, because that just means that more and more people are waking up and wanting to know, what can I do? What's missing? Obviously, medical system is not meeting that need at the level that is needed. And I just want to thank my team. We've got Phyllis and Sherry and Marilyn and Albert and Rod and AJ here, bringing those questions, making sure that the stream is going correctly, making sure that people are getting into the Zoom room and going through and watching the different platforms, bringing those questions in, and also answering the phone. So folks, if you're not working with anybody and you are interested in finding out what is it that you need that Dr. Wallach would recommend to you, each and every one on the screen and many more who are here in watching with us or who referred you to this program have also been trained in Dr. Wallach's philosophy and approach to looking at the body as a whole. We've got 4 areas of health: how they're affected by nutritional deficiencies, and what we can do as an empowered individual to meet those deficiencies where they're at and no longer have those deficiencies. So get back with the person that shared this program with you. If there's no one to thank, give us a call. 855-949-3377. Again, that's 855. CAJ's already on the phone talking to somebody. 949-3377. Or if you would like to reach us via email, you may do that as well. Go to info or send us an email at info@DailywithDoc.com. That is info@DailywithDoc.com. Go to our website as well. This is sponsored by DailywithDoc.com, and we have a contact option there, including a store and Dr. Wallach's 10 good foods, bad foods list. My name is Becca Dukes. Thank you so much for taking the time and investing in yourself. Share this message with somebody else, as you didn't hear it, just for you. Until next time, bye for now.